ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors, kicking off a brand new week of East Carolina coverage and sports talk. Plenty going on. ECU baseball with a sweep of South Florida, a statement in many ways as they continue to show they are a viable contender for the American Conference title. It's now a three-team tie at the top of the league standings with UAB, UTSA, and the Pirates. With 3 weeks left in the regular season, we'll get more into that, not only throughout this week, but also in today's show. We are going to catch up with Cliff Godwin in segment 2. Had a nice interview with Cliff this morning, and it is a fact he does not dislike the media because he actually invited, I think, me and Philip to go attend the sweep lunch, or the sweep meal as they call it. We weren't unable to make it, Philip Pilkington producing today because of our show, but it is further proof, and you'll hear, I don't know if that's actually part of the interview, but I think we talked about it after. It is further proof that Cliff doesn't dislike doing interviews. I think it's more so just he dislikes doing them right after a game, specifically when they lose.
Yeah, I appreciate CG for inviting us to eat the ACP that they're having right now as we speak. Look, after games is an emotional time. I don't blame them. Like I said, I think we've always said it, whether it be Coach Harrell, Coach McNeil, congratulations on your extension, by the way, Coach Schwartz, Absolutely. They all have a more of a cool down time. And CG has to go straight to the media, so that kind of sucks. So hopefully with the new team room and all that, maybe that's something we can work on in the future. One of the things, though, Stephen, you did not ask how I was doing today, and I want to rant that I was supposed to see Wags today. I was looking forward to hanging out with Wags. I was going to do a double dose. Got to hang out with him Friday, but the stupid Canes swept, and now I can't go to the hockey game tonight. Not going is a little disappointing, but I was wanting to hang out with Wags, and now I don't get to see Wags today.
Man, poor Hurricanes fans. It's tough when you got tickets to Game 5 and your team is so good they don't even need a Game 5. But I do hate it for you that you kind of got robbed of that experience, more so as a sports fan. Obviously, You pull for the Hurricanes, Philip, but you're a Bruins fan, and your team also got its lunch money stolen yesterday on the ice by the Sabres.
BTA.
Yeah, so not looking good there. They're down 3-1. My Nuggets are down 3-1, and that series may come to an end tonight. We can handle that maybe towards the end of the show. We are going to start, though, with some – we're going to start – oh, he's got the belt in turn.
He bet on the Sabres, so that's why he's got it.
Good for Isaiah, who we're going to get on the show a little bit this week to talk. He's got to talk about his Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Now they had a successful draft, so we'll do that. Speaking of the Cowboys, we're going to start there. We'll have Cliff Godwin segment 2, and we're going to have a heavy baseball segment 3. So drop all your comments. We will get to that. We're going to start, though, with the NFL draft because, look, it's not every day the Pirates have a wide receiver drafted. In fact, this is the first draft pick for an ECU receiver since Zay Jones in, I believe, 2017. And this is also the first year ECU has had players drafted back-to-back since 2009, 2010. And so, look, it's been a long time, and it's a big deal. You only had 13 Group of 5 players drafted this year, or 13 players from Group of 5 schools, I should say, because a lot of these players played at those institutions and transferred and got drafted otherwise. But we're going to see less and less of this just given the consolidation of talent in college sports. So it's a big deal. First off, before we hit the Anthony Smith, what it means for him and the Cowboys, Philip, I was in the press box Saturday and kind of surprised he went that early. I was expecting an undrafted free agent deal, but I'm pumped for ECU, pumped for the coaching staff for developing him. It also shows ECU can bring in a Power 4 reject and develop him into a draft pick as well. So, I mean, to me, this is a big deal to see Anthony Smith drafted.
It is, yeah. It speaks a lot of your program. Like you said, 13 players there out of the Group of 5 drafted. You're used to just back in the day, it was, 9 to 10 out of the American, 4 to 5 from Boise State on any given year, and then a sprinkle in of guys from other places. So I think it's big. It shows, guys that if, things don't go the way you want it to go at school X, ECU can come be a very good school Y and can still be home for you. And, we hope that we think that Anthony will still come back and always be a Pirate. And, we wish him obviously the best. But, now he can come back and show his face around homecoming and different things as guys like Jaquan have done and Savon and show, hey, you can be a part of this program and still go on to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself at the age of, 4 or 5 or whenever those goals were set to go play in the NFL.
Kenny Curlin's in the chat, big Cowboys fan. He's fired up. Anthony Smith is a Cowboy, says Kenny, and this is one happy Pirate and Cowboys fan. Yeah, Dallas is now home to 3 former ECU players. Obviously, Savon, also Julius Wood signed a futures deal in January back with Dallas. So I guess if you're looking for an NFL team to root for and you're a Pirate fan, Dallas is the answer. I'm typically against going with the Cowboys. Sorry, Isaiah. But this is an instance I will make an exception for. So go Cowboys, I guess, as long as they're not playing the Broncos. It just sounds wrong to say, but whatever. All right. This fit for Anthony and Dallas in general. Obviously, look, Dallas is pretty good at receiver already. I mean, great if they don't trade Pickens. You have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens who, probably arguably the best 1-2 punch in the NFL. You also have Jonathan Mingo there. They have Anthony Smith listed right now as a backup outside receiver. They also have Flournoy in the slot and Cavante Turpin in the slot as well. So I think, he's probably today wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6. The question I have is, if you're in that spot, we're going to bring Isaiah on here for some commentary on the Cowboys. If you're in the wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6 spot, you're going to have to make it as a special teams guy to begin with, and then hopefully get your shot from there. So that is what I'm looking to see from Anthony. But let's get a Cowboys fan perspective, Isaiah. What do you think about Anthony Smith to your boys and how he fits?
I mean, personally, I love it. Like you said, we do have George Pickens, we do have CeeDee Lamb, and we have Turpin and Flournoy, who people really don't know. He started coming along last year. He wears number 19. But he's going to be our third receiver, and Turpin's going to be moved to more of like a kick returner, back to his like specialties. And then for Anthony Smith, I think he's a fifth receiver, just because we haven't had a big receiver since Michael Gallup to really be able to run down the field and be the threat that we need. If you've seen, of course, we've watched Anthony Smith since he came here. He makes big time catches down the field. And before we had GP, nobody was making big time catches down the field. And he's making them in contested catches, and he can move in the open field. So I believe that, yes, you will have to be a special team player. But when his number is called, I think that he will be ready. Because Jonathan Mingo, he's about to be released. Then you got Trayshawn Holden. Trayshawn Holden will be probably his competition in between. He will be his competition during the offseason just because he's already been there. He didn't make the team last year. He was just a practice squad guy. But they love him. Everybody loved him. So I believe it will be a battle between those two. But I think just because of his height and his physicality, he'll be the fifth receiver and he'll get some playing time.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, him just being on the field is going to open up some things because of his vertical threat down the field if he gets those snaps. What's the latest buzz on Pickens? I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there. Do you think at this point they trade him? Obviously, that would have a direct impact on Ants. Like, is that still a viable possibility, or is it TBD?
Personally, I think – let's not say personally. I think that he's not going to get traded. And the reason that being is because if you saw in the draft, we just had an amazing draft class defensively, and the only thing that was holding us back last year was the defense. And even some games – you had people like me believing, we can actually make the playoffs, even with this defense being as bad as it is, just because of how powerful the offense is. So giving away one of your best players, I don't understand it. And also next year being able to franchise tag him again, which nobody really knows that but me because I'm a fan. But you can franchise tag him again because that's how the players wanted it. They went to the NFLPA, and that's how it is. So now you can get franchised twice. Now, do I believe next year he'll get franchised again? No, because normally when you play for the Cowboys, you have to go play in the franchise tag just to be able to get that extension. You know what I mean? Dak Prescott played on the franchise tag. Now he's the highest paid quarterback. Micah Parsons didn't want to play on the franchise tag. Now he's a Packer. DeMarcus Lawrence played on a franchise tag, got his money, highest paid defensive lineman in the entire league the year 2014, coming off of 16 and a half sacks. Now, Jerry didn't want to pay him because he's getting old. He leaves. He goes to Seattle. He did good. But when you play for the Cowboys, you have to play on the franchise tag. It's something that you must do to show Jerry that, yes, this isn't a fluke. You know, my father told me, do it once, it could be lucky. You do it twice, all right, we got to respect it. So I believe it's something of that nature. Now, next year, could they possibly trade him? Yes. But I hate to say this. If GP comes out again next year and has similar numbers, do we start looking at CeeDee Lamb as maybe he's the one that gets traded? That's
because I love Pickens. Obviously, you deal with some off the field drama, but it's one of those things. I guess if they're winning and he's putting up big numbers, you deal with it. And Anthony is like the complete opposite of that. He's like, kind of like the non-diva receiver. So, I hope he gets some run, but definitely we'll keep an eye on that just in terms of his direct competition maybe to see the field. You also got Savone Rebel coming back, and then Julius Wood re-signing as a futures deal. So, I don't know. You extra fired up with 3 Pirates on the Cowboys now.
Yes, I'm very excited for Savone Rebels. I was high on him this year, even coming off of an ACL injury, seeing how he was practicing. You know, we talked about what he looked like at practice. He looked crazy. He couldn't really run. His knee was hurting. Yeah. And even him being out there this year, to me, it was just like, okay, next year, especially with the addition of Christian Parker, who has helped develop players in Cooper DeJean, players in Quinshon Mitchell, players in Surtain, he got them guys ready. And Savone, before his injury, was a first round. He was a day 1 pick before his ACL injury. He was a top 3 corner, top 2 corner. And due to his injury, he fell to the 3rd round, thank God. But now, with him being big and long, it's going to be better because we got Kobe Durant. We got, as y'all know, Caleb Downs. We have safeties in Jalen Thompson and Malik Hooker and guys like that. PJ Locke from the Broncos. So I believe that. Exactly. So with all that happening, I believe that we'll be amazing. We'll be great, especially next year. Defensive-wise, that's all we need is the defense to show up. And I'm not saying we win the Super Bowl, and I'm not saying we went to the NFC Championship, but we will beat the Commanders twice. Shout out Bobby. And we'll beat the Eagles twice too. They suck, but yeah, that's just
there.
Me.
He is. All right, intern Isaiah Kenny Curlins says, "Give this man his own show. He knows the Cowboys." So, look. There's no doubt. Isaiah, no short on words with his Cowboys. So appreciate the insight. And we'll continue to get the Cowboys update because as ECU people, we're heavily invested now in Dallas minicamp news, off-season news, and all that. Quickly before we get a break on, we got Philip back with us. A couple news. Mike Wright Jr. minicamp tryout with the Seattle Seahawks. Very curious to see what position he's going to play in that tryout. It's a tough path to make it. But he's getting an opportunity. That's all you can ask. Tristan O'Brien, too, long snapper, is getting a minicamp tryout with the Saints. So a couple Pirates there. Haven't seen any other news, Philip, but we do know those guys are at least getting an opportunity.
Yeah, the scouts looked really impressed with Tristan O'Brien's times on Pro Day. You know, it's all about how quick you can get the ball back there, how, persistent it is when it gets back there. So that was good. It's good to see him get that opportunity. As for Mike Wright, look, we always say it. You said it with Anthony there. We say it with guys all the time. If you want to be the last 3 guys on a roster, how are you going to do that? It's going to be special teams. So Mike Wright can do it in a variety of ways. He does have that special teams ability. And look, it's a business, right? You got to perform on the field. But if it comes down to him and some guy whose character they don't really like, well, we know who's getting a nod on that because when it comes to character, attitude, and leadership, Mike Wright, if there was a grade better than A+, he'd be better than A+ on every single one of them.
No doubt. Glad he is at least getting that opportunity. We'll see what comes of it in the next few weeks. All right, we got to get a break in. We got Cliff Godwin next, ECU baseball coach. Our interview with him, recapping the sweep, and more is next.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agent.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahar, matey!
Back to the show with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Visit with East Carolina head coach Cliff Godwin. Pirates coming off a 4-0 week. They win the midweek game at Old Dominion in Norfolk on a chilly night and then sweep the 3-game series against South Florida. First time USF has been swept this season. Cliff Godwin joins us now. And, Coach, we were joking beforehand. Good to get you on a 4-0 Monday, as the last time we both had a scheduling conflict. So first off, welcome back, and secondly, your thoughts on the week for the Pirates.
Yeah, it was a great week. I thought offensively our guys were really, really good. Going back to Old Dominion, to be able to put up 19 runs, whatever it was, and to play 7 innings. If we've challenged the offense because, our pitching staff, the workload that certain guys are taking is a lot. So the more we can go out there and score runs, and if we have an opportunity to shorten the game, let's do it. And they did that a couple times last week. So just really proud of them, and then proud of the pitchers and just our group, just the way they just continue to show up. They enjoy one another. I've said this for a long time, but there's great humans in that locker room, and our coaching staff has done a great job with them. And man, they played really good this week.
Hey, Coach, you guys, for South Florida, I know their pitching have been maybe not as dominant as it was early in the season, but still very good arms you guys hit this weekend. And one guy that we know well, Ethan Sutton, that y'all recruited in the final game. So, it's not like y'all were out there just hitting around some chopped liver. Just talk about the approach from the coaching staff down to the players executing that plan and what led to that success this weekend.
Well, you got to give a lot of credit to, Coach Gotro, Coach Packard, our players, from receiving the information, not making it too complicated, and going out there and just making it hard on the opposing team. And, we don't strike out a lot. So when we do that and we get good swings off early in counts, our A swings, we can put a lot of pressure on you in different ways. And I thought we were able to do that all week. But just happy for our players, because at times it hasn't been good. And they just keep showing up. They're eager to learn. They want to get better. They want to win for East Carolina. So it was a really good week.
We talked about after the game yesterday, Coach. You kind of challenged them come out of that Wichita State finale, and it's not like you guys had a bad week. Y'all won the series, but when you have a chance to sweep a series when you're in a championship race, it makes such a difference as we see in the standings today. But just obviously, you challenged some of the position players after that game. And how do you feel like they responded? And do you try to challenge them again, even coming off success?
I think they know. But we talked to the team a little bit about this. I don't know if it was after Tulane, but you go around the locker room. How many guys on the team actually have experienced a regular season championship? And yeah, of course, you got Colby Wallace was a freshman. Walker Barron was a freshman. Of course, Norby was a big piece on that team, but there's just not a lot of those people. So it really takes the guys in the locker room that were a part of that, of letting them know also, like, Coach isn't crazy from what he's saying, but the consistency of what you have to do to win a regular season championship. And that's why, it's one of our goals, is because that's consistent work. It's just like culture. If you don't have culture, you can't get through a season like we've been through and have the ability to win the conference regular season championship with whatever 3 weeks left to play. And the guys have done a really good job, but at times I think they had let the mental focus fade. And we just don't have any room for error right now with the people that are able to go out there and pitch and play and all that good stuff. So you have to be mentally dialed in. And when they do that, you can see it can be special.
So our Monday visit with ECU head coach Cliff Godwin, and Coach, we talked a lot about Jack Herring, throughout his time, the past year and a half at ECU. But I was just looking at his numbers this morning. 503 on base percentage right now. He's only struck out 22 times compared to 38 walks. Obviously hitting for power. Just kind of what he's doing, and he's managing 2 swings. As a switch hitter. Just what can you say about Jack and just how much he's put in the work for these type of results?
Yeah, there's, I don't know, we just could spend the whole segment talking about Jack, and just, bet on himself. He wasn't going to go in the portal unless he could come to a place like East Carolina, because he was in the jungle in the 24 regional. Like, he wanted to be a part of something like that. Walks on. I didn't think he was good at all in his first fall. I thought he was a terrible outfielder. And could swing the bat a little bit, but man, he has totally transformed the player that he is today compared to even a year ago. He was too stiff, and he worked on his mobility. He'd be up here at night, just getting his body to move better, which has allowed him to be a much better outfielder. The catch he made in the Charlotte game versus a leadoff hitter, I told him it's the best play he's ever made in his life, and we laughed about it, but it's the truth. And he's turned himself into a solid outfielder, and he's turned himself into one of the best hitters in the country, in my opinion. And when I say hitter, there's guys with more home runs, but when a guy is like really bearing down on you in the mound and he's trying to get you out, and there's a runner at third base, or it's a 2-out RBI like yesterday, he can really, really get there and compete and have a quality at bat, even if the guy has really elite stuff. There's not many guys in the country that can do that, and he does it at a very high level.
I noticed too, Coach. He seems to be a guy that, as I'm watching the dugout, kind of in between innings, he's talking to his teammates, to you guys as a staff, almost more than any player. So, just how much has he grown to as a leader, just communication wise? It seems like he's always dialed in, throughout the game.
He's grown tremendous. Last year, just trying to get on the field, trying to be a consistent player. This year, he's taken on a huge leadership role. I think him and Davin Whitaker on the position player side have been just the guys that can get the group going. And even when they're not individually having the success they want at the plate, they don't fade from the leadership role, which that's when you're an elite leader. Anybody can be a leader when things are going good for yourself individually, but if they're not having a great day at the plate, it doesn't waver them for what their goal is, and that's for East Carolina baseball to win a baseball game.
We saw Walker Barron return to the lineup this weekend. So was he still dealing with some of the after effects, Coach, of that sickness? And obviously had a great weekend. So just what did you see from Walker this weekend?
No, it's called smart coaching, and he lost 10 pounds at Tulane. And if we just keep catching him every game, he's not going to get back to full strength. So Old Dominion would have been an emergency to bring him in off the bench. But We've been with our strength coach, with Thomas Francisco, our athletic trainer, just trying to get him back to full strength with, of course, eating more, but in the weight room, arm care stuff, body care stuff, just to get him back because he's really good when he's fresh. He's not, no offense, he's just okay when he's not fresh. And we needed to get him back fresh and to get that strength back and that weight back from the sickness he had down at Tulane and lost 10 pounds.
Cliff Godwin joining us here on a Monday. Pirates hitting the road this week. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But I wanted to talk about work on the mound this week, Coach, specifically by Joseph Webb. And he credited AK for the work that he's done on a splitter and just – looks like almost a different guy compared to what we saw the first few outings this year, just dominant. So, he said he kind of realizes this is probably his last time playing baseball potentially, and he's just going out there giving his all. So when you hear a guy say that, that has to mean a lot to you as a coach. He just wants the ball every time.
Yeah, I mean, Joe is the epitome of compete, the epitome of old school, the epitome of you can still get people out as a pitcher and not throw 98 like everybody thinks you have to do. He's a throwback. I mean, we talked about it yesterday in the post game of Danny Bill, Matt Bridges, Cam Colmore, guys that just will pitch all the time. And, I've joked about this, but when I took him out of the Tulane game when he started, hey, coach, you're holding me back. So, I said, well, I don't want your arm to fall off. But, man, he has done just a really good job. And I think somebody said it, but it seems like he's better the more he pitches. I mean, he had a week off, and I didn't think he was bad on Saturday, but I didn't think he was, like, super sharp. And then yesterday I thought he was really, really sharp.
We also saw Towers go out on Friday, coach, and pitch a really good game to open the series. And, he just seems to be getting more and more comfortable every outing coming off that procedure. He said it's kind of like, no excuses now. We're far enough removed from it. And just how have you seen his mentality kind of improve as he gets further away from that?
Yeah, I mean, not to be too personal, but I think there were times early on, I mean, RT didn't know if he would ever get back to just being close to what he was stuff-wise before the surgery. And we've talked about this, but, he had a shoulder surgery, years ago. I say years ago, 3-4 years ago at LMU. And I think a doctor told me that he probably never pitched again. And, of course, he comes back from that. And then now you have to have Tommy John surgery. And so he's not the most physical dude. He's not Gavin Williams' stature. So it's a little bit harder for those guys because it is the physicality does matter. The strength does matter. But he has continued to just stay the course, work hard, and he could see, man, my stuff's coming back. And, of course, a lot of work with Coach Knight and Jake. And I would say as much mentally as it was physically, there were some things definitely mechanically that he cleaned up. But mentally going out there and seeing his stuff continue to tick up and feel good and be able to throw multiple pitches for strikes has allowed him to pitch successfully the last few outings.
Coach, we saw Ethan Rose make a heck of a play coming off the mound. I mean, I don't know, like when he's doing PFP, does he actually throw it with that arm slot to first base, or is that just a natural thing because he had to do it so quick? I mean, what did you see there?
Well, first off, I texted in the pitchers group chat after the game. It's one of the best plays I've ever seen a pitcher make. I don't think people understand. A lot of pitchers don't even throw that ball. A lot of pitchers throw that ball into the outfield and every run scores because it was with 2 outs. And it was a big moment in that game. And, man, he did it with a ton of confidence. But back to your original question, he throws like that all the time. And I actually asked AK like 2 weeks ago, I said, did somebody teach him how to throw like that? And he goes, no, he just started throwing like that and nobody ever changed him, which – can you imagine somebody not changing that arm slot today when they're growing up? I mean, everybody wants to put their own stamp on somebody, but thank God they didn't change it because it is special, and he's a really good athlete.
No doubt. Big guy, too, moves well, and a heck of a play for sure. All right, Coach, we saw Jenkins throwing in the bullpen and in the finale. I guess it was just one of those situations you guys didn't really need him this weekend. Just I assume he's doing fine if he was up warming up and just, see a guy we could see again this week on the mound.
Yeah, Sean was a little bit frustrated that he didn't pitch, yesterday. And AK and I talked to him, and hey, Sean, why would we pitch you in a 9-run game? Like, that's just not smart on our end when he's been dealing with some soreness. Now, I would say he felt the best he's felt in a long time yesterday. So he actually, got off the mound, felt great. And I say we, but Sean probably should have let us know just some of the soreness was happening a little bit earlier so we could have managed it better with Hunter, our athletic trainer, and Kevin Young's our PT. But it is what it is, but we have made a lot of progress over the last 10 days, I would say. And we have not had to use him a whole lot. So that has been great. I mean, he could have went back out at Old Dominion, but there was no point. And he just, was cold and he didn't feel great. And why would we do that? But we feel good about where Sean is. He'll be ready to go in some capacity on Tuesday.
Cliff Godwin with us. We'll continue on with our injury report, Coach. We hit it every week, so I guess we might as well do it again. The latest on Linehan, and you said he might be back sooner than later, obviously. So what's the latest on Grady?
Yeah, he had surgery last week on his nose. Everything went good, and he will not play tomorrow night. But we'll see about this weekend. He's got a follow-up appointment on Thursday. So we will get him a flight with one of our staff on Friday and see what his availability is for Memphis.
Colby Weber, is he getting back closer to at least throwing the ball again or getting him back in some form?
Yeah, all his PT's going really well. His shoulder, range of motion, all the internal, external stuff, strength. A lot of people, when you have some stuff now, but a lot of it stems from your shoulder is not where it needs to be. And so obviously Colby's a tall dude, but as he continues to gain weight and get stronger, his body will be able to take more of a workload because obviously his arm moves really fast and he throws hard, but he's doing really well. So he's supposed to pick up a baseball at the end of this month, which is coming up, and we'll build him up. And if everything goes well, we feel good about him being available in the conference tournament.
Thomas Paxton, I did notice, Coach, he was at least throwing some before, after the game. Is there a chance he could get back as well down the stretch?
Yeah, he has actually got off the mound, and he was actually available this week in emergency role, probably for an inning. So, definitely that will, give us another guy that has the ability to go out there for at least an inning, which is good.
And then we did see Moran start at ODU and seem to, potentially be available this weekend too. So is it just we talked about it last week, but did he feel okay coming out of that? And, is he going to be a guy that you can at least throw multiple times down the stretch here, hopefully?
Yeah, I wouldn't think it's the guy you're throwing probably twice in one weekend. I mean, it doesn't feel good. I mean, Nick Moran is pitching through pain. And I actually thought his stuff was like better than probably what I anticipated at Old Dominion, especially being on kind of a chilly night. He threw some pitches that were really close that, I think they were balls, but it just, he's got to get a little bit more sharper, but he wants to pitch in any capacity he can. He just knows that when he goes to get his arm moving, he's going to be in some pain.
And obviously, injuries are a part of the game, Coach, but this year with the amount of guys, just what can you say about the training staff, what they've been able to do to get some of these guys back? And have you found yourself learning more, doctor lingo than ever before?
Texted with Womack a couple weeks ago, because he's been there at times as an athletic trainer and how he just feels for Hunter Martin, our AT, and but there's so many people. It's Hunter Martin, it's Kevin Youngs, it's Dr. Hasty, it is Dr. McDowell. It is all hands on deck and bouncing ideas off everybody and calling people, trying to figure out if this treatment might work. And we're doing everything we can. Guys have been awesome. I asked them, before we played Wichita State, if they thought we were too injured to win baseball games and to win at the level. And all of them shook their head no, like, hey, we're good enough, Coach. And that's what I appreciate about this group. And it's a good group and it's a fun group to be around. You got to manage stuff like you do always, from people being disgruntled about playing time or need to pitch more, all that stuff. But all in all, man, it's been a really, really good group and a group that could withstand some adversity and still have their head above water, going into the stretch run here in May.
Final thing for you, Coach. You guys in a championship race for the conference. Obviously, big midweek game at NC State, but going on the road 4 games this week. Is that the next step for you guys? Find a way to maybe replicate the success on the road and do that away from home.
I go, you know what? I'm going to enjoy today, and I'm going to go to bed tonight. I'm going to get some sleep. I'll get up early in the morning, and we'll worry about NC State tomorrow morning, and we'll get on the bus and go to Raleigh. And then after that, we'll practice on Wednesday, and then we'll get on a plane on Thursday and go to Memphis, and we'll worry about them when we get there. But I'm going to enjoy today because we went 4-0, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little sweet meal for the team at about 11:30 today. It's going to be really good, so we're fired up about it.
Hey, fair enough, man. You got to, if you don't enjoy the victories, then why are we all doing this? So I appreciate it, Coach.
Absolutely, I need to enjoy it. Yeah, for sure.
No doubt, man. Well, Cliff, we appreciate the time as always every Monday, man. Enjoy that lunch, and we'll reconnect sometime this week and next Monday as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Igo. Appreciate it.
That's Cliff Godwin with our weekly visits on Hoist the Colors. We'll be right back after this.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
In Eastern North Carolina, people appreciate things that are straightforward, honest, and dependable. For decades, our team has focused on cutting through insurance complexity for the communities we serve. And now, we're bringing that same mindset to our name. We're Flatlands Insurance Group, a simpler name that reflects the same local team, the same values, and the same commitment to the great communities we feel blessed to be a part of. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world is covered.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Inner Banks Media presents the return of Concert on the Common.
This year, we're live from the tailgate lot at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Kicking off this year's concerts, it's the Embers featuring Craig Willard.
What you do to me feels like poetry.
Join us Thursday, April 30th, starting at 6 p.m. for Concert on the Common live from the tailgate lot at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium.
Details at concertonthecommon.org.
Pirates play here. This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo. On 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here, segment 3. We're going to talk some baseball now. Appreciate Cliff Godwin joining us. Segment 2, a lot of good discussion there. Philip Pilkington rejoins us now. ECU with its second clean sweep of the season. With a 4-0 week, they also went 4-0 a couple weeks ago when they swept Charlotte. So, big weekend at the right time. Philip, RPI goes from like 42 to now 28 as of this morning. I do think what Cliff said is like a fair point. Look, our margin for error is still not great, especially given the injuries on the mound. Like all it takes is one or two of their best pitchers having a bad outing that could kind of throw things out of whack. But this was a huge week, man. There's only been 5 sweeps in conference play all season. ECU has 2, UAB has 2. I think Memphis swept Rice for the other one. So it makes a difference in the standings, and I think none of us predicted ECU to sweep this series. I changed my pick to 2-1. You, I think, had USF taking 2. Jonathan Wagner had USF taking 2. Bobby had ECU taking 2 of 3. But a sweep is a big deal.
It is, man. It's hard to do when everybody's healthy. It's hard to do in the majors. I mean, you see it. It's really hard to sweep a 3-game series, and when you've got the banged up deal that they've got on the mound, it's just you don't expect to have it happen. And, CG was right. There's a small margin for error because of what you said, right? The injuries, but also because, it's the unfortunate circumstance of, hey, man, what's Memphis's RPI? What's FAU's RPI? It ain't very good. So one loss hurts you so much, so much more. And that's the tough thing about college athletics, right? Not every loss and every win is created equal. You lose a Major League Baseball game, it doesn't matter if you lose to the Braves or you lose to the Phillies. A loss is a loss, and a win is a win. And that's the tough thing about college baseball, and these teams that East Carolina is fighting for on the bubble are not playing Memphis and FAU. So that's the tough part. Now, the great opportunity thing is tomorrow night, baby, you get a chance to go on the road. It's going to be a quad 1 opportunity at an ACC school. And if you can get this win, it's really going to put you in a good spot.
Let's talk about some of the best individual performances of the weekend. I don't know exactly what time they announce players of the week, but I would think at least Jack Harrington's got to be in the mix for one. He had a 5 RBI game against the Bulls in the finale. He drove in at least 1 run in all 4 games this week. He finished the week with, let's see here, 5, 7, 8, 11 runs batted in. Also had 9 hits total, had a home run, a couple of doubles. And then on the pitching side, Joseph Webb was dominant as well. Johnny Stats here says, quote, Joe Webb has pitched in 2 games in each of the last 7 weekends. In the last 2 weekends, he has pitched 14 innings, allowing just 4 hits, 3 walks, 0 runs with 24 strikeouts, 2 wins, and a save. Yeah, I said yesterday, man, he was throwing a wiffle ball. Like, some of that stuff was absolutely disgusting. And for him to do that after throwing so much on Saturday was pretty crazy.
It was, man. It actually kind of worked out. The rain delay worked in our favor. And, he's been special. He was one of those guys coming into the year I think we thought was going to be one of the more prolific bullpen arms. I don't know if we knew it was going to be quite to this level, but in time when, we talk about the injuries, there's been a few guys who've just, as they do in the season, kind of fallen off, not been what they were at the beginning of the year, and it seems like he continues to get better and better. And Isaiah was just saying it over my shoulder here, talking about the week that Ryan Towers had as well. And he said that somebody called it. I can't remember if it was Bobby or Wags that said their pick to click was Ryan Towers. But just the weekend that he had, that Friday night, and that set the tone for the weekend and put ECU ahead of the 8 ball and South Florida kind of behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I know Bobby said he basically threw out the scenario of, hey, let's start Towers Friday. And if he has it, he has it. If not, you go to Jenkins. And it kind of worked out. Obviously, Jenkins didn't have to pitch. This is the second week in a row, no Jenkins. He did pitch 2/3 of an inning at Old Dominion, looked good with back-to-back strikeouts. I do think it's good they're keeping him fresh after that soreness a couple weeks ago. But we can get more into that, going into the NC State game, how much he should pitch tomorrow. The other standout, both post-game and in-game, Philip, was Jeff Sabater, who did his post-game in helmet and glasses. He walked up and was just like, yeah, my teammates told me I had to wear the helmet for post-game. So he had the full-on gear. We've been told he's got, quite a sense of humor, quite a personality. He was a little shy in the interview, but I thought maybe towards the end started to open up a bit. But he's just been a guy who gets on base, 473 on base percentage, puts the ball in play, moves the baseball, whether it's bunts, whether it's hitting. He stole a base yesterday. And defensively, man, he made like 5 or 6 really good plays. So with Grady Linehan out, he's gotten consistent ABs, and he's been a massive reason why the team has had success recently.
Yes, obviously those plays in the outfield have been great. Early in the year, I wouldn't say struggled, but just had not quite found his footing. But it's making that jump up to Division I, right? And I think what makes Jeff Sabater a great baseball player, he's an average to above average talent. I don't think he's great talent-wise, but he plays the game the way the game is supposed to be played. He plays it pure, like the game was played back in the 60s and the 70s, where if there is a pitch on the outside part of the plate and he's a little behind it, he has no problem just shooting it over the shortstop's head. As a left-handed hitter, he'll go opposite field. He'll go back up the middle. He'll hit the ball on the ground and try and just hit it where they're not. There was one yesterday that was kind of back up the middle. I think it might actually hit the mound and then went straight into center field. Too many guys nowadays have to pull the ball, have to hit the ball in the air. If it's not their pitch, they still try and make a hero swing. Jeff puts the ball where he has the highest percentage chance to get on base based off where the pitch is thrown and what type of pitch he gets. He's a baseball purist. He takes a pure route to the baseball in the outfield. He hits the ball pure. He runs the bases well. And when you have guys like that, your team is going to be successful.
And look, not every guy in the lineup can be like that, but at least like one or two sprinkled in along with some power is ideal. You don't really want every guy in the lineup just swing and miss home run style, and you don't want everybody to be a Jeff Sabater, but a good mix. And I think ECU's finding that, as Cameron points out. I think the difference of last week has been the ability to hit home runs. ECU had 17 singles and 1 double at ODU, but this weekend, 4 home runs on Friday, 2 home runs in game 2, 2 home runs in game 3. We talked about it going in. South Florida does not have power. They hit 0 home runs all weekend, and that made a difference. 8 home runs versus your opponent's 0. That's going to be a big deal. And the Pirates also, they don't strike out. So if you have a team that doesn't strike out and a team that hits for any type of power, that's a pretty deadly combination. So the other thing I wanted to hit before we get a break in, Philip, and we'll answer some more of these questions, final segment, was, I thought it was a big deal the team responded to Cliff Godwin. I'm just going to be honest, after the Wichita State finale, he kind of called out the players, and that can kind of go one of two ways, but it shows to me that the players still respond to his coaching, his staff's coaching, and they answered it this week about as much as you can. I think at the time, a lot of people were making a big deal about that press conference. It's been talked about less, but I think this shows that what he said was probably the right thing, and the players kind of took it to heart and have responded.
Yeah, and he even mentioned, too, that he was going to have a meeting with some of them on Monday. We've kind of said who's the guy who's going to sit everybody down and, have a heart-to-heart in the tough love way. Who's the guy who's got a chip on his shoulder? And, maybe we still don't know who that guy is externally, but maybe they're finding out who those guys are internally. And it seems like this team is getting mentally tougher. It seems like this team is finally playing with a little bit of the chip on their shoulder. I mean, we're finally getting warnings again, right? Irby hits it, he pimps it, he watches it a little bit, and we're getting warnings on Saturday night. I'm not saying we want to go out there and break rules, but have a little swagger, have a little attitude about you. And finally, this team is playing ticked off a little bit. And I think it came down to, like you said, I think CG called him out publicly. I think he might have pulled some guys into a room and told them that they're going to have to lock in, if we're doing it in the nicest way. And, hey, they responded. You got another big week this week. Keep it rolling, boys.
Hey, in both weekend series, ECU's dugout has received a warning. They did sweep the weekend, so maybe there's something to that. Obviously, you don't want it to happen in every game, but maybe there is something to play with attitude and fire. All right, let's get a break in. We'll have some more comments I want to read. Also, ECU softball with a big weekend series win as well. We'll tell you about the ramifications of that before we get out of here. This is Hoist the Colors.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
In Eastern North Carolina, hard work matters, and it always has. At Flatlands Insurance Group, we've been showing up for our neighbors since 1963, helping families and business owners navigate change, weather tough seasons, and keep moving forward. Decades later, our purpose hasn't changed: to help protect what you've poured your time and energy to, from your home to your health to whatever comes next. Flatlands Insurance Group, your whole world covered.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Back producing Stephen Igo here. I'll read through some comments and I'm going to hit on softball before we get out of here. And Johnny Stats with another stat about ECU's offensive success. He says, this was the first time ever ECU has swept a week, scored double-digit runs in every game, and won 3 games by the run rule. The Pirates team batting average was .407, and they averaged 18 runs per 9 innings. So ridiculous offensive production for ECU and against a very good USF pitching staff. Some comments about Braden Burris taking that shot to the ear hole. He stayed in the game, finished the game, so I assume he's okay, but that was definitely a scary moment. And Johnny Stats also adding that Jeff Sabater and USF left fielder Jacob Green were playing tic-tac-toe on the warning track yesterday, and that Jeff won. So interesting in-game competition there. Lane Smith with a comment saying, I think Sean Jenkins should just pitch this weekend. Sweeping the Tigers is more important than beating NC State. I agree. Lane, we'll get more to that conversation tomorrow. I think the state game obviously would be great to beat your in-state rival. To me, you're playing for a conference championship at this point. That would mean more in their resume, but we'll get into that discussion tomorrow. All right, ECU softball wins 2 out of 3 at Tulsa. Once again, showing some resiliency after losing the series opener in 10 innings. They come back, win 2-0, 5-4. ECU softball under Shane Winkler now 13-11 in the league. They're in 4th place. This is a big deal because it's the final weekend of the regular season coming up. The Pirates will host UTSA, which is 11-13 in the league, 2 games behind ECU. You also have FAU and Charlotte at 12-12, 1 game behind ECU for 4th. Now, ECU does have the tiebreaker over both those teams. They won the regular season series. But if you get a top 4 seed, or specifically a 3rd or a 4th seed, which ECU is fighting for, you get an automatic bye to the quarterfinals. You would only have to win 3 games to win the championship versus having to win more than that. So this is a big deal, Phil. If they win 2 out of 3 this weekend, I think they're assuredly at least the 4 seed based on my math. but obviously they can still get up to third as well with North Texas having a game edge at this point. But big series coming up and a big series win at Tulsa.
That was, and like you said, to respond after the way that Friday game went. They won a low-scoring pitchers duel on Saturday and was able to win a 5-4 game Sunday where there was, a late push from the Golden Hurricane. So finished it off with a great double play. So, look, this team's gritty. They're tough. The tough thing, I think, is they've got to manufacture runs. The pitching is above average, I would say, when on. The tough thing is there's not a lot of power, and they've got to manufacture runs. Therefore, they have to be smart on the base path. And, there's a play, for example, yesterday where the lead could have even been extended more, and it wasn't a bad play on the base path. It was a bang-bang play, but you have Anna getting thrown out at the plate late. Shane Center, I think it was the right thing. Honestly, I thought she was safe. But just little things like that, sometimes when you're a team who can't change the game with one swing of the bat, it does put you in tough spots that those kind of scenarios can kill you. But I definitely think they've got the toughness and the grit, and they play to their competition, which is big.
20 home runs on the season compared to 35 given up. They are hitting 273 as a team. So ECU softball, some versatility on the mound, and some good hitters. And hopefully they can find a way to get into that tournament in that top 4 slot at home, get some good crowds there, make a run at a championship here coming up in a couple weeks. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have Kaysen Ramaley on the show. We'll preview ECU, NC State, the rematch, and a whole lot more. We'll see you then on Tuesday.